Ralf Müller, he has been working at Zumtobel for 16 years now, and he is the senior consultant for digital services with an advanced knowledge of illumination and lighting control systems. Was that not a wonderful moderation here for you, Ralf?
Indeed.
Well, welcome, and I'm looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Anja. Thank you. What a nice stage. Ladies and gentlemen, indeed, I would like to take the opportunity to build a bridge back to what we have heard to us as a lighting company, as a lighting manufacturer. My presentation is having digital services as natural, as obvious as good lighting. A building for logistic, for industries, have so many different areas for the visual tasks. Outside areas, perimeter areas for load bays, high bay rooms or low bay, fast moving devices or office work. They all need different requirements or have different requirements for visual tasks. And we all know a good high quality lighting solution can help, can support in reducing failures, improving well-being of the employees, staying in the focus, and all that with a reduced consumption of energy. Staying a company, your company, in a business successful needs adjustment. It's not easy to stay them in the at that time. What is super quickly changing, we all know that. We have heard before that we need flexibility, that we need to adjust processes, as an example. I don't want to talk too much about our lighting solutions as they are quality lighting or lighting control system, even not about our emergency systems. There, you know us since decades being a good partner in your business. I would like to take the opportunity to work with the lighting infrastructure beyond the typical lighting ideas or lighting functionalities. Luminaires are all over the place in the buildings. They are everywhere. They are powered, mains powered, and normally fixed mounted. And since that time that lighting controls are obvious in the buildings, they are also networked to control systems. Adding this with new kind of sensors now would make us able, or makes us able, to grab data. And these data is now, as we heard also in the speeches before, is super important. Not only take them and store them wherever, it is super essential to do something with, to have some learnings out of that data. And that is the third step with algorithms, with systems to combine them, enrich these data, and store for them for further or for future needs, to combine that with something out of the past. That is important, and that's what we call a digital lighting solution, our digital services. What gives us transparency, drives efficiency and productivity, and hopefully as minimal in technical solutions, it decrease a bit the complexity in the systems. Digital services are mainly split in two big segments. The first segment is the monitoring. Monitoring means that we take data from the technical systems, dimming levels, operating hours, what gives us a real-time view about the systems. Additional to that, we could use that infrastructure of the lighting to transport data from ambient sensors, which measures the air temperature, the air humidity, or CO2 level, what is today very important. Many people, small rooms, high level of CO2. But it's also possible to use that infrastructure or that monitoring functionality to grab data from machines. So means sensors for vibrations or rotations per minute, as an example, what gives us an information or data to make information out of that. The second topic is that location-based service. Location-based services are in the focusing in the center to the position of something. It can be a material, can be a tool, it can be people as well. Gives us the opportunity to do asset tracking, what we have heard earlier many times, but also would give us a chance to generate an indoor navigation system. For the moment, I would like to concentrate a little bit on that asset tracking, so positioning of goods or job cards, what helps us in automated real-time inventory, as an example, or at the end gives us a possibility to do way passes analysis, and we see in a heat map as an example where we have points with high interest or which are heavy occupied, where we can try to use our facility in a broader way and make some points a bit less traffic. For that, we have two technologies. One technology, we call it the positioning by wireless IoT mesh. It's a completely full radio-based system, Bluetooth-based system, where we have integrated the so-called anchor nodes into the lighting infrastructure, into the tecton or into craft luminaires directly in, and they are span a mesh of a network, and it depends on the use case. And that is a big difference why we have different technology. It depends on the use case, which accuracy of the position you need. Maybe it's only 2 up to 5 meters, and this wireless IoT mesh is a perfect choice. Also, if you need not every second an update of the position, if it is good enough to have it half a minute or every 5 minutes only, then this technology where you do not need any additional data cabling, that is brilliant. The second technology is at what we call high accuracy positioning. With that high accuracy positioning, we at the end use the same infrastructure. We have so-called locators, antennas, which I show you later on, are mounted to the tecton trunking system, and with the help of that, it is possible to have the localization or the positioning of devices in real time. So many times a second by refreshing the positioning. And with an accuracy less a meter, what is super precise. And even here in our light forum, we have installed that. And I would love to show it you, but unfortunately, we be online only. However, you could see how precise it is, down to less half meter to plus minus 20 centimeters, something like that in different areas. There is a specific, during planning, there is a specific need to look to interferences, but at the end it works brilliant because these locators are at the same place needed where also the luminaires are mounted. So, at the end, I'm happy to show you something later on in the breakout sessions. or maybe now in the discussion, we will see. And I'm looking forward now to the panel discussion with you, Anja. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Ralf. This is your virtual applause. So as you said, it is now time for our panel discussion. So please, all speakers from just now, please switch back on your microphone and your camera. And you, dear participants, it's now time for you to be interactive. Please ask questions here to our speakers, because we thought, hey, why not save you some time? And if you have any questions to our experts, then please tell them to us now, because we won't go into the breakout sessions later. So, okay, so welcome back here. Ralf Müller, of course, Urs Göttinger, Peter Portner, Ivo Angern, and Rüdi van Leuven. It's nice to have you here all back with us. So, Ralf, maybe I start with you. So you've, because you've been the last speaker, you've heard all the presentations before that, and I would just be really interested from all the solutions and products we've just talked about. Was there anything for you where you were like, okay, this was kind of surprising or new, or are you an expert and you've known already everything?
I never know everything. I would say not really big news for me, as I'm a professional acting in that. But one thing what I've learned is to see how the whole chain of that works. So from the very beginning, from taking in consideration the needs of the company, what digital service could help, down to all the technical possibilities together with all our partners to realize them. That is, in my opinion, the essential thing what we can do all together and only.
Exactly, that's a very good point, and I think this would be a good start for our discussion now as well. So if the participants that have been listening to us now think, well, this all sounds great, some really great solutions there, but where do I actually start in my journey of digitalization? Like, what should I actually do? What kind of requirements do I need in the beginning? So I would like to ask this question to Ivo. What is what you tell your clients when they come to you at the start of their journey, or when they want to realize a certain project?
Well, I would say at the start, typically people come to us and say, yes, they want to have a digital factory, or they have started a big digitalization program. The first thing of all, of course, is to get an understanding of what they want to achieve. Digitalization is never a purpose by itself. Digitalization is a tool, an enabler to create, to do optimization of processes, to do better workplaces, to support people in doing their jobs better. And to find out this is typically the first hurdle in most of the digitalization projects. Of course, if people very exactly know what they want to do, then it's relatively easy. It's a typical project management, and then the idea is rather just start to do something and don't start with big concepts. But with many of, especially also projects, real estate focused projects, the link between the operations, the real need of the production and the workers in the factories, and the needs for real estate is something that needs to be established first before you go really into the technology options, into the use cases, and into the specific value adds and technologies, how to solve that.
Yes, I think this is how it's supposed to be. Let's have a look. Rüdi, is that exactly how you did it in the beginning of your journey being a project manager? How was that for you?
Oh.
I think you're muted, Rüdi.
Yeah.
Sorry. As real estate, our target is to build buildings that our management needs. The questions come from there, and I feel that we are now in the phase that we are coming closer and closer to the people of the management of logistics, for example, and production. Because we can build a building with stones, with light, and with Wi-Fi. But now there are coming more and more questions: how you can help us with this, how you can help us with this, what will be the standardization for the future, and this I'm working on. So I hope that data that we can make available for them, they can use in their processes. That's my target for the future. So I'm hearing very interesting discussions and availabilities that I will take with me for the future.
That's good to know. So data, to have all the data as a requirement, or what would the others say? What would be your answer to this question? Like, what do you need to start? What kind of requirements?
In general, it's good to have an overview where you want to go at the end. But what we think is it's also important to start, not to do too much investigation and big projects and everything. So do start, make an experiment with some digitalization projects. So then you also get the feeling how people will accept this. And at the end, it's not only the technology we implement here, it's at the end people, they have to work with them and they have to accept this and they have to have a benefit out of it. And that you learn best if you try something, maybe if to speak with my words, do a last mile management in one department or only at one working place and get some experience out of it. And I would say start is the first. Start, make experiments, and then bring it together in a whole system at the end.
Okay, so in the end, it comes kind of down to the people. That's what I've discussed with Martin earlier as well. Maybe you can tell us about some concrete measures that you've implemented in your companies. Like, how did you take the employees with you on this journey? Maybe Peter, can you start?
Yeah, first of all, it's quite interesting. We see that more and more companies established kind of an innovation department or an IoT department. So the good thing is they're trying a lot of technology by not knowing what is the result afterwards. So I think this is at the end good. On the other side, it's always new technology driven by pain points. So currently, it's not only the COVID crisis, we have also the crisis of less semiconductor products. And therefore, the guys have really a need and do starting. And we see a lot of projects popping up currently, for example, finding stuff. It's unbelievable simple normally, you think. But now the technology is there and they will start and get benefit out of it. For me, it's very important immediately to show results. And then you will get and buy-in from the technology immediately from the key people, for sure.
Okay, so results is your answer. Ralf, I'm looking at you. Is that also something that you would recommend, and how's that your clients?
Well, I think what we have heard from my colleague Martin earlier, as he said, honesty.
Honesty, yeah.
Honestly, communication. So being or bringing a clear statement, what is happening now in the factory, what is our plan to do in the near future, that they are not surprised any morning, oh, there is a change here and there, and then they do not feel very confident. So from that point, I think the communication thing is the most essential, what you should do.
Yeah. It's interesting. We're actually talking about technology, but in the end, it comes down to people and communication. Ivo, would you like to add something to this?
Yes, of course. It's always about people. It's the needs of people, be it managers or be it worker assembly at the assembly line. And the other thing next to communication is the involvement of the directly concerned people, because they have the ideas, they know from their daily operation where are the pain points, which are the optimization potentials. And if you involve them in the solution finding, of course not all, but if you involve selected people in the solution finding, also in our experience, the acceptance then of the solution that have been developed are much better than if you just come and say, now this is the new solution, this is how you should work from now on. Because this is creating better results in terms of they know what problems they want to solve, and the second, better acceptance, because they do work with it, and they're the experts actually on what we want to do. So it's important that if you really want to roll out such projects, that you have the involvement of the concerned people and not just the IoT or innovation department. Of course, they can bring all the ideas. We also do lots of tests with different systems in our smart commercial building center in Aachen, where also Zumtobel is involved, where we try out to combine different things. But at the end, it comes really down to who are we doing this for and what is his benefit. And if those people understand why we do that and are involved in the solution finding, this is the recipe for success.
That's your recipe for success. I'm always waiting, like, gentlemen, if you would like to jump in on any point, then please do so. But okay, so we've talked now a lot about people, about employees. I would like to talk a bit about money. This is something that Rudi already really nicely integrated into his presentation. So all those questions that are coming from management. Okay, when is this actually repaying this investment? You know, how long will it take? What is it? So all those KPIs. So this is something I would like to discuss with you a little bit more. How long does it take for those investments, and how do you communicate this to your management? Ralf, I'm looking at you. What do you? How do you argue then with your clients and those financial, departments?
Yeah, it's always not an easy discussion, because mostly they came up or start with, I would like to do something smart, or I need to create a building, and it should be a smart building. It must be a smart building. Mm-hmm. What's the return of investment? What does it cost? And then I say, stop. We have first to discuss about what's your use case. Please open up the books, so to say, and discuss about their pains, probably, what they are not very open normally, our clients. So, but at the end, there is no easy answer. It pays back after a year or 7. Yeah. So the value is what you do with the data, what you do with that information in your company to do something better. And that drives the return of the investment at the end. And probably it's very normal that we talk about return of investment since years. This counts everything, so to say. But I believe there is a bit of change. We have new rules, new requirements to fulfill, where we have to do, and so we need to do smarter buildings, not creating buildings as we have did 30 years ago. And this is to be brought into the focus.
But why is it so difficult? I'm looking at you, gentlemen, and happy you may jump in if you would like to answer this question. So why is it so difficult to communicate this, and how can we do that better? How can we make that easier for the financial department and others to understand, and the management level especially?
It's when I can jump in, it's very difficult to convince managers to implement a new technology, because the questions they are coming directly back is, what is the return time? But for me, the worst answer I can get from a manager is, I didn't know that you could provide us or to offer or this. So that's the worst answer I can get. It means I failed, because I have to bring to them new technology. What you think about this? This company can offer this. This company can offer this. What you think about that? Can't it be something for you that we can implement in our smart building that you can use? You have examples from there or this supplier or this supplier. So it's, for me as real estate responsible for the electricity installations, for me, it's important to give the manager the tools that he probably don't know, but he like to know. So that's my target for the future.
Give him the right tools. That's a really good point. And also speak their language, maybe, right? Like they understand what you actually want. Any other suggestions?
They only understand one language. That's financial.
That's numbers, black on white.
But I think, if I may, I think this is a key topic, not just talking to managers. This is the interdisciplinary approach that needs to be learned. I mean, these technologies are really cross-industry. Huh? I mean, already between building technology and IT, there's such a big gap in terms of language and understanding and processes and so on. The way how the buildings of today have been built during the last 50 years is a very traditional sectorial approach. Okay, you have a supplier for the HVAC system, you have a supplier for electricity, you have a supplier for IT. and they have been dealing independently. But nowadays, you don't build a house with just a number of plugs and a central heating, and that's all. If we're talking about smart buildings, it's interconnection of systems, and the value add, the most value add, comes only through the combination of those different systems. There's of course also value add, simple value add, by just adding something relatively obvious of finding the microchips you have lost. Yes, of course, there's a big value in that as well. But really innovative new value comes often of combining disciplines, and this is not within a company only, but this is also, of course, also between companies. We need no single company can solve it alone, and we need to be able to understand each other better, find common languages, and create value add. And in particular, in the building and construction industry, there's a lot of value of coming together at the beginning and not just doing contract management and claims management, but rather finding the best solution for the customer and have a common vision and work together. I think this is the right approach for the future.
But isn't that easier said than done? I mean, we always say that, okay, find the right partners, collaborate together with other companies, but also there are a lot of, sometimes I'd say tension, or like it might be even difficult to find those right partners, no?
Probably yes. What I also would like to add to Ivo would be there is also a need in how to do all that. So it's not only document on planning something like a typical engineer and tender it, go out to market, search for that company who could deliver it for the lowest price at the end. It is more to partner up at the very beginning. Not at the super very beginning, but even there on that path, on that track, there is a need to build up trust. And also there, this trust building this is a task of all of us doing it together. Demonstrating areas like in Aachen from the technical universities. This is essential to show that these new technologies work to each other and can interoperate. Yeah. That is super essential.
Looking towards the other speakers again.
Maybe here's also a question, what do you want to do? Do you want really to do the latest technology that you maybe only can find on some startups? They experiment with that since a year and you are not, it's maybe not industry proven, or there is often a lot of technology that is maybe already some installations, maybe some 100 installations, that will work, and this company has some stability, and this may be also here, or quite sure here in the next few years. And that's something also a decision you have to do at the beginning, on which level I want to play with my digitalization project. And then also, what's the right partner? I think often the right partner is also the one that helps me in the overall project. So just to deliver technology, then we have this technology, but how do I achieve my processes with this new technology? How do I take the people with me with this new technology? And I think that's somehow underestimated. We have a look to the technology and find out, okay, there's a lot around this technology to build a successful solution.
Yeah, very good point. Okay, then I would like to move to one more topic, which is actually one of the big topics we've been talking about today, and Ralf mentioned this in his presentation. So lighting being like the platform for Industry 4.0, for allowing all those services and those solutions. I would like to have your opinions on this. Is this something that where you say, okay, this is good, I like this, or what's your opinion on this infrastructure like light to be part of this? Who would like to start? Maybe Peter.
I think it's great, because this is definitely a hurdle what we have to bring up the technology into the wall, because it's quite complex. So if everybody who could help in order to make this process very simple and productized is a hero for me. because after that, if you bring it more, it gets cheaper and useful. For me, it's always a question, you could have so many services afterwards, not only logistical. Think about retail, think about, if you take about big train stations and so on, what additional service you could bring out, even if there is a technology in place. So by knowing that for some areas, if you go deep into a production, maybe it's not precise enough, but then you can put an additional sensors, for example, on top. So for me, this is a game changer into the whole game IoT, in my point of view.
Mm-hmm. Other opinions? Yes.
Yeah, for me, it's also for us as boss that so when we want to install such a last mile management system, so we always have to fight with the IT of the customer to place some access points, to communicate with our labels or scales. And for me, it's in a way a no-brainer, and I'm wondering why it's not already invented and since 20 years, because light you have everywhere. Light you need everywhere where people are working, and it's really the question why it's not already done since years. Maybe Zumtobel, you put it in the back pocket, and for me it's somehow a no-brainer.
Maybe you waited till that perfect moment.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we would love to have it done 20 years ago, definitely. I think that is exactly the part where the market comes. What is the market requiring from us as delivering something? Sometimes you can come up with, there is something new that fits exactly to this and that. What we've done with lighting controls, dimmable luminaires, something like that, that helps a lot, or helped a lot in the past. I would say with the whole discussion of digitalization and all these sensors and smart buildings, what came up, I would say really to a bigger market since 2 years, 3 years. With the pandemic, a lot of speed has come in. Okay. However, I completely agree. Why not earlier? It would be perfect. Yes, it is. And with our tecton trunking system as an example, a simple example, we are able today to use these for providing data to easily and super flexible install luminaires or sensors at places without changing something in the installation, in the electrical installation. That is given today. That is probably the reason why this product is quite successful.
Maybe that is. Well, Rudi, I mean, you've implemented this, so how happy are you?
I'm very happy with this. The struggle we only have to fight is with the IT guys. It's the same problems I'm facing at Volvo, as you know. For example, to implement a server in a separate network, it cost me a year fighting with IT. Yeah. Of course, they have their reasons, but if you have such an amount of data, it's the target must be that it can be handled easily by programs, by software that can easily help us without thinking and just screening something that we can use directly. That's the target we have to go.
Is one of sorry, go on.
Sorry. Otherwise, you need something. You need somebody to evaluate the data who is coming. You must have an automatic program that's doing this for you.
Is also one of the challenging topics that you have with your IT guys about cybersecurity, or is that not?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and protect this data.
Yeah, it's one of the topics that Ivo actually also mentioned in his presentation. I guess this is a big topic at the moment for every company in every aspect. And watching all those presentations, I was thinking actually quite a lot about this, about IoT, industrial IoT security. What are like the challenges that your clients come to? Yeah, maybe Ralf, you can start. What kind of challenges do they have there, or how can you solve them as well?
Well, really solving. We as a technology supplier, the lighting supplier, I don't think that we can do this. But what we could do, we could offer to use the standards of the market. Also in cybersecurity, there are standards more or less out, what is very typical in usage. Sure, we should not use a very proprietary communication protocol, what only we can, what makes us probably not that easy to hack or to understand, but at the end it doesn't help. So we need some standards, and we have to take care that we do the best of cloud protecting, I would say. And at the end, most of IT departments believe or think they have the best security for their system, but I doubt a bit there. I think one of the high-level security is on cloud systems, where you use standardization from the big providers.
Oh, Ivo, what do you recommend to your clients when they come to you with those challenges of cybersecurity?
Well, I think there's two different cases. The one case number one, still the most frequent one, is people are not aware at all what are their risks, and for manufacturing and production there are big risks. And the second ones are those that have been hit by a cyber attack or a suspected cyber attack, and they rush and say, oh, we have to change everything, and please tell me what to do. And it's not so easy, because the existing systems are really not very secure, as many successful cyber attacks show today. So first is really the understanding what you can do. And then the second thing is really, and we have now a little bit been talking, those IT guys that don't understand the requirements from business. I would just like to highlight that in the IT standardization and frameworks, a lot of these security topics have been addressed, and in all the other technology systems developed by large players and by small players, there's still lots of proprietary approaches that are really not very well done. I'm personally convinced that the computational power, so the handling of data and the manipulation and management of data, will all move to the cloud. And the only thing is we have to make sure how this gets securely to the cloud. But actually the IIoT is having the right mechanisms and regulations and standards how to solve this. The problem is just the transition from where we are today to there. This is really complex. This is really not easy. This is not the shortcut approach, but we can deal with those topics. We can identify the most exposed threat points for companies. We can address how to deal with them, but there is not a single answer. The only thing you cannot do is just ignore and hope that it goes beyond you, because this is the work that what you just mentioned before, the security by obscurity, by just creating some proprietary thing nobody understands, is working maybe for a couple of years, but after that you will be forced to something more open, and then you're in trouble.
Because otherwise it's dangerous, yes. How is that with the last mile management, Urs? Is there also a risk for cyber attacks?
Yes, they are, of course, but luckily we work with the technology of SSC Marco tag, and they are used in retail. So there you have hundreds or thousands of people that try to go in to manipulate prices of the goods and so on. So so we have here some experienced technology, and we think we are safe, as everyone thinks. We are safe, and it's really that you start really from beginning on. If you have your data in the cloud, they are maybe quite safe there, but also the way to the cloud is important, that you secure this and then make sure no one can manipulate the data, bring in some other data, or steal some data.
Okay, let me just remind our audience, this is the last chance for you to ask any questions. So if you do have any, then please post them into the chat. And then I think I would like to do a quick last round, talking about some trends and having a look into the future of logistics and digitalization. Do you see any trends, or what is your next project? What are you really looking at the moment? I would like to start with Rudy. What's next on your journey now?
My next direct journey next year is to give the management the data they want, and that especially is the consumption data. That's the first thing I will start, and the next the opportunities I see now with this meeting that we have to give them the information and look what they do with it.
Okay, very good. Peter, what about you? What kind of trends do you see, and what is your next thing on your list?
Yeah, we have a close cooperation to a company which is serving cross-docking warehouses. And what we are now have done, we have equipped all these warehouses, run about 80, with already these sensors. And now we're putting more and more additional services on an app for these customers. For example, find very important assets in a good way, find it that they are secure and so on. So that means using the existing infrastructure to make more and more effort and productivity out of that. This is what I'm looking after, especially in the logistics.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Urs, what about you?
So we're working on our smart factory logistics systems to enlarge them, but one focus will be also here to make it more easy and understandable for the people. So at the end, we say, okay, we want to have our ARIMS mobile app. They should be so easy as you go to Instagram and as you are used in your consumer business today. So it should be at the end that also the 60-year-old guy can manipulate with our solutions here, or everyone who thinks it's not my first job to do the digital work, so that it's really bring it to the people, make it touchable, make it understandable, and make it somehow self-explaining.
Mm-hmm. That's a really nice next target. I really like that, to make it really easy. Ivo, when you look at your clients, what kind of trends do you see? What is important to them now, this year, and then the next?
Well, of course, we all know that the pandemic has been a huge driver to many digitalization practices and efforts. Now we need to turn back again also to the climate crisis, and also this will have a huge impact in terms of sustainability topics. Many of those sustainability topics can only be addressed with digitization, especially if we look at all the construction material side. There's huge potential for digitization. But a little bit closer back to logistics, I think one of the most burning issues is that really, if you start new facility construction projects, please start with those digitalization topics at a very early stage, and don't start with building first a big hull there and then start to put in some production lines and then start to think about what do I need in terms of infrastructure for realizing my digitalization use cases. This is something that is unfortunately still not addressed in many early concepts for new buildings, and this needs to be changed, and this is something we're working on with our clients right away.
I think this is some really good advice, and some advice that you would share as well, right?
Definitely, yes, absolutely. I would advise that too. Yeah, right.
What else? What is that? What you see? What kind of trends, and what's your next target? What would you like to?
Definitely, what I do see is a lot of inquiries to us consultants on digital ideas. Asset tracking, as an example, is really everybody talks in the moment from that. However, at the end, what I will do, I still going on talking to the market together with our partners. And I would say helping Rudi on that energy consumption topic.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Really likes that, yeah.
Yes, very much.
Good. Very good. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to have this panel discussion with you. I would like to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Anja.
Thank you, Ralf. Thank you.